Hello everyone, Turiosaurus here. Hope you guys are having a nice day. I'm doing pretty well, albeit not as well as I would have been had I not lost all this audio track, because this is part 2, also known as the final part of the hour-long footage with no audio in the background, which means I'm doing post-video commentary, so this is not live anymore, which is unfortunate, but it's not that bad. I'm in a much better mood now than I was for the first non-live commentary video, because I was still a little bit angry at myself for having lost an hour's worth of audio. But hey, things happen, life goes on, right? So how are you guys doing? Hope you're doing well, as I say at the beginning of every video, and I always seem to repeat it because I'm me. But hey, you know. So today we are continuing our journey to try and find a village. Later on in this episode, we will find a village, and so that is a good thing. We definitely make some progress in this video, and it's actually pretty decent progress, as you'll see. It does take a bit of time though, and so if you guys don't want to see me walking around, feel free to skip forward to about 16 minutes 50 seconds or so. That should be approximately where we find the village at. So yeah, you guys have got 15 minutes of me wandering around aimlessly trying to find this thing, and that is before I cut the video in order to just do it all off camera and find it and spend another 15-20 minutes searching. um yeah, as it turns out, I just had terrible luck. um After finding the village, I actually went on a program called Minutor, or Minotaur, I think is what it's supposed to be, but it's spelled Minutor. But yeah, and that is a Minecraft mapper. So I can find whatever I want on this world via that program. Now, I did it to see how many villages I'd passed by. About four. About four villages. Actually, right here, we were probably about 30 blocks from being able to view a village, and we just miss it. Miss it completely. For no reason at all. Except for that I don't have Optifine installed. Therefore, my view distance is maxed out at far, which is good. Far is actually a great view distance, but without Optifine installed, that's as far as it gets. With Optifine installed, I can get some serious distance going. I have yet to do any tests to see like how high of a distance I can manage while recording, because it might be fun to know at some point. Though usually if I have Optifine, I also have various other mods installed which tend to once again bog down the system, meaning that I still tend to do farther even if I record with all those other mods installed, but not as far as I could had I not been recording per se. Sort of like with Skyrim. So you guys don't know it yet because I have yet to record the next episode of Skyrim or update it actually, but you guys will know by the time this video comes out. So scratch what I just said. But in the next Skyrim, I'm going to talk about how I changed the video graphics. Oh, sorry for the sporadic laughing, guys. The wife just died in Skyrim on the Xbox, and it was in a somewhat hilarious way. But yeah, so I noticed in our Skyrim video, there's not much jumping about, as in like lag on the screen, but I did notice a little bit. And it's hard to say if that was a rendering error, because that does happen. I am using a free rendering device, and uploading with my internet speed and to YouTube in general is garbage. So it could have been an error in either one of those places, or it could just be that it was lag due to the recording and using the high graphics and the max render detail. So what I changed in the video settings is nothing you guys are really going to notice. Due to the fact that YouTube kills the quality of any video you upload, it's probably something that even those of you with 1080p, 44 inches, or whatever your TV is, even those of you with top of the line TVs, probably not going to be able to notice the differences. The only thing you might notice is I did reduce the grass render distance a little bit, um, or object fade for the grass, meaning that as I'm walking, grass doesn't spawn as far away as it used to. That's really the only noticeable difference, not distance. Aside from that, it's really minor things, such as object detail as we go away. So now the background, not as detailed, animals and other characters such as that, not as detailed from a distance. We can still see them just fine, but you're not going to be able to see the curvature of the horns as well, and the color is not going to be as sharp anymore, stuff like that. And even small changes like that have improved the quality uh, by a decent amount from what I can tell. I haven't done any test recordings on it, mostly because I record live, and I don't do post commentary too much. I am forced to now, but that was once again a forced thing, not quite what I was hoping for. But, and so, yeah, Skyrim should be better, smoother, though not as pretty. But once again, you guys aren't actually going to notice that. That's just something for my end of the bargain. I have been playing Skyrim a bit on my own, as in a character that I'm not recording. And I gotta tell you, I am excited for us to get into archery on ours. Because archery is super overpowered on my computer. Because I can have the object distance maxed out, even with a terrible sneak skill, I can shoot things from so far away as long as I have enough ammo so that I can figure out where to hit them at. Um, that it's crazy. We'll see in probably the next video, because the next video is going to be a decent length, and I'm going to try and show you guys what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's awesome. I think you guys are gonna have a good time watching me fail at sniping, but nonetheless, sniping with bow and arrow in Skyrim, I can get some seriously long distance shots. There's one in particular which I'm going to redo on our series, so I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I was super happy about it. Oh, just so happy. And so like my one character that I play currently that's not on our channel is actually relatively low level. I think they're only like level 10, but I've got like level 50 sneak or something like that. I don't know. It's a very high level sneak for such a low level character, because that's really the only thing I've gotten is like sneak and archery skills, because all I've done is kill people with the bow. And well, I've done it from such a great distance away that no one ever finds me. And so I get lots of sneak skill and I get lots of archery skill. So let's get to the video. I think I've rambled on enough about Skyrim in Minecraft. I should ramble about Skyrim in Skyrim. So we just slept here, kind of built a little shelter in the trees, make sure nothing spawned around us and blew us up in our sleep and stuff like that. Luckily the music from Minecraft actually stayed, which you guys may be hearing in the background now. Hopefully there's not a conflict of video to Audacity recording audio, whereas the music is louder than me. It shouldn't be. I'm listening to the music as I speak. I'm actually watching my video right now so that I can kind of follow along and know when to end and all that jazz. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so if the music is too loud, you probably won't know it. Being that I am recording this in Audacity, it's going to be a separate file from the video file itself, which means I can edit video audio, and it will reduce the volume of that without reducing the volume of my speaking. Once I get a mic that's proper quality tabletop and I get the pop filter, which I believe I talked about in the last episode, I may not have, because I know I talked about it in the lost audio. However, I'm not sure how much detail I went into with the last video, so if I forgot to talk about it, someone just leave it down there in the comment section somewhere that I didn't talk about my plans for the new equipment that we'll be getting for the channel, hopefully here pretty soon. Actually, I just need to do some research and figure out what I'm getting. But I'm going to be doing quite a few upgrades, and I'm going to get not a professional setup per se, but it's gonna be pretty high quality for the type of channel that I have. So right here we actually found a jungle temple. Not nearly the quality of loot that we'll get out of the desert temple that we found before, but still, it's something. And so I'm checking for tripwires here, which is something you always gotta check for in these later updates in these temples, because boom, right there, and my smacking the wire actually set it off, which I was unaware of, and thus shot myself. But it's not that big of a deal. So here, snagging some free arrows. I'm gonna snag the dispenser. No real reason to snag the dispenser, other than the fact that I just kind of want it. So yeah, then I do that and I break the redstone so that that thing can't shoot me. I snag all these. I'm probably not going to have any use for them because, as I said in this recording that you can't hear, I'm really, really bad with redstone. Really, really bad. But I plan on learning. You know, that's part of what this season 1 is it's me learning how to actually play this game properly so that I'm enjoyable to watch, not only by people who don't know what they're doing, but by people who know what they're doing as well. Now, I do make a scrub mistake right here. I don't take any of that stuff. I take the chest stuff, I kind of show you how the puzzle works. I should have gone and taken those pistons, in the very least. Probably should have taken the repeater as well, but repeaters are pretty cheap. But those pistons, they should have been mine, and I didn't grab those. I'm actually pretty sorry about that, because those pistons would have been good to have. Pistons not being all that expensive in comparison to, say, a Tekkit machine, or something in Feed the Beast. But for items in vanilla Minecraft, pistons are not the cheapest. They're a relatively complicated crafting recipe for vanilla Minecraft, and so that's something which I'm certainly gonna miss not having. Unfortunately, I have no idea as to where that temple actually was, so I can't exactly run back to it. But it's okay. It's only 3 pistons. We can live without them. The sticky aspect of them is going to be kind of hard to come across. We'll need to find a swamp biome and likely build like a slime spawner, or just run around and kill slimes, something of that sort, because we'll need slime balls. And slimes now spawn in swamps. For those of you who are like me, who don't keep up with Minecraft, that's one of the few things that I do know that maybe some people don't, and so that's my sharing knowledge with no one, probably, because let's face it, you all who watch this more than likely know that in swamps you can now find slimes. Yes, so now we are going through here, and I am sneakily trying to dodge all of these lily pads. Luckily, boats were improved to the point that you can hit a lily pad and it's not necessarily going to break your boat anymore. There's still a chance that it will. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't just go plowing through all the lily pads in the world, but it's less likely for you to actually get your boat just annihilated by it. And even if it does break, sometimes it'll break and still be a boat. I don't know if that was a bug that was fixed by now. It's very hard to say. I did that more back when they were first doing the boat improvements on the lily pads and all that. And so it very well could be fixed at this point. It's very hard to say. I don't follow the patch notes all that heavily. I'm more the kind of guy who, it happens, I update, and then eventually I'm going to figure out what to do with all that stuff when I get there. But because I've never done a series like this before, being that I just started doing YouTube commentaries like this, I've never really had a purpose to do everything. Usually I start a world, I build some crazy looking building, I maybe get a couple diamond tools, and that's about it. It's really just me messing around, building stuff, whatever I want. The only like full playthrough things I've ever done, uh, as just me playing, is with mods. Tekkit, for instance, I had a pretty legit Tekkit playthrough on several different worlds. Actually, I went through old school Buildcraft, and I did several industrial craft machines and mixed them together. I worked with red power towards the end of my Tekkit-ing. I started with Equivalent Exchange, which is a mod that I back to this day, by the way. I think for servers, uh, there's this huge debate as to whether Equivalent Exchange is in fact balanced. A lot of that has to do with the tools that once you get them, a lot of the tools actually are designed in such a way that they bypass bucket protection codes. So right here, actually, I'm going to pause and I'm going to freak out for a little bit because this is where I realize we've done a circle, because that little cobblestone thing you see is our house from a few nights ago, or yeah, 2 nights ago. And so I freak out a little bit. Here pretty soon we're going to cut forward to the next scene. But back to Equivalent Exchange. So aside from the fact of the um, the issues with griefing, which is, in my personal opinion, the only valid um, excuse as for why people say Equivalent Exchange is overpowered, because that is entirely true. There are lots of tools in there which are relatively difficult to disable, to my knowledge, which can be used for griefing even if griefing has been disabled. Unless you block breaking any blocks on the server whatsoever, even that might not work. I don't know how they're coded, but you can place protection items on servers like that. It's a special code. I think you need to be opt to do it, but you can build something and then you can layer this whole area with protective code, and then no one should be able to break those blocks. Well, apparently with Equivalent Exchange tools, it's still possible to break them in many cases using the special abilities, and that is overpowered. That is not nice. That is just mean. So that's something that you don't want to do when you're just kind of, not playing with friends, basically. And so we've just found the village here. I talk about how I thought about building our house here and then decided against it because, as you'll see in just a little bit, the village is kind of jacked up. But, like I was saying, back to Equivalent Exchange, aside from the griefing factor, which does in fact need to be fixed, I don't think it was valid for the rest of it to say that it was overpowered. And that is because of the way that the energy collectors work. So energy collectors were this huge issue with within the game. And so the thing is, you build a power flower, or even if you don't use a power flower, people were saying they were overpowered. And to a degree, I would agree. They kind of eventually nullify the use for a quarry, except for to gather EMC, essentially. However, something to think about is the reason that Equivalent Exchange energy collectors are really considered overpowered is when you build a power flower. You get antimatter relays, or whatever it's called, matter relays, dark matter relays, I think they're called. It's been a while since I've used that version of Tekkit or Technic or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, you get those and you place them around your transmutation chest, or whatever it's called. It's not an alchemical chest, it's an upgraded version of that. But you place it around it, and you have the relays in between, and you have the energy condensers, or the energy collectors, around the outside, and it uses sunlight to create EMC. Sounds really overpowered, right? And you'd kind of be right at Mark III. Once you get the final level of those things, they create approximately a diamond a minute, or something of that sort, which is pretty fast. Considering one dark matter is something like 64 diamonds, that's still something like 64 minutes that you have to wait to get one dark matter, or something like that. I don't think it's quite that bad. I think it's 16 minutes per dark matter, and something like 45 minutes per red matter, or something like that. So still, considering the quote-unquote power of dark matter and red matter, that seems pretty quickly. However, without Railcraft being installed, there are no world anchors. Equivalent Exchange does not have a world anchor system of its own, which means that even on a server, unless someone else is in that chunk that your house is in, your energy collectors aren't going to work unless you're logged in and actually playing the game. And so in that way, the amount of time it actually takes to get to Mark III energy collectors in a server that doesn't allow the use of world anchors is ridiculous. It is incredibly ridiculous. I can get a full suit of nano armor way before I can legitly, with only using Equivalent Exchange, get any sort of upgraded armor from them. And that immediately puts me at a PvP advantage. Now I understand a lot of the complaint with Equivalent Exchange is not about PvP. And so if you don't really care about the PvP aspect of it, then I would have to say you are completely right. Equivalent Exchange is super overpowered. However, when you get to the PvP side of things, which is one of the things people talk about, that's entirely wrong. Yes, with Equivalent Exchange you can fly around. And yes, you get this armor that can explode and shoot lightning. However, even the best armor of Equivalent Exchange, which is virtually impossible to get through legitimate means, people will have quantum armor and will be blowing you up with nukes long before you get this armor set legitly with Equivalent Exchange. Anyways, by the time it takes you get that armor, everything's over. It's impossible to get. So the PvP aspect of it isn't great, and even that armor that I was just talking about, it's not as strong as nano armor. Nano armor at a full charge reduces damages by 100%. So as long as you have a charge, and the charge is going to last past the damage that you receive, you will take no damage at all. So in theory, if you could somehow alter the code so that you had 10 million joules or whatever it is stored in your suit, you could survive a nuclear blast. The best armor from Equivalent Exchange, I believe, is the 90% reduction, which means that a point-blank shotgun shell from Vulcan's weapon mod should kill you, I'm pretty sure. Or any sort of big explosion. Nano sabers take you out like nothing, like they're cutting through butter. And so the PvP argument with Equivalent Exchange is rather garbage, in my opinion. I'm sorry if you disagree, but when you think about it, it's not Equivalent Exchange that's overpowered, it's the combination of the two mods. When you hook up Railcraft, which has the world anchors, or any other mod with that basic ability, to Equivalent Exchange, you create this mammoth of a mod, which is frankly overpowered. However, by itself, it should not be blamed. Now, the mod maker of Equivalent Exchange is actually redoing the whole mod. EE3 is an entirely different system. There will be some form of EMC, however, it's going to be much harder to get. You're not going to have energy collectors and energy condensers anymore. He's basically scrapped the whole system. Now, I feel he did this as a way to sort of appease the public so that no one said his mod was overpowered anymore. And I don't think that's right. Now, hopefully he's doing this more out of his own accord, because then that's fine. At that point, you know what? That was his idea. He realized that he wanted his mod to be used on servers more than single player, and so he needs to fix it so that it works with all the other server ones, right? That makes perfect sense to me. I really hope that this great mod isn't being changed simply because some people abuse the mod. I mean, let's face it, quantum suits are ridiculous when it comes to servers. You can jump over anything, yada yada yada. You can get all sorts of really powerful tools. You can enchant diamond drills now, making them ridiculously fast and all that. And so those are overpowered mods in my opinion too, but you don't hear anyone complaining about it because no one's really abusing it, and because you can't break people's stuff with it, basically. So, you know, I don't know why I went on that rant, but that's something that popped into my mind, and so I decided to kind of rant about it. My apologies for anyone who didn't want to hear that. And for those of you who found it interesting, I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, so back to the video. We are now jumping through hills and jungles and through the trees, through the leaves, and climbing up because we are now headed home. As you guys have probably seen if you were watching the video, then you saw we now have potatoes. We did not find carrots, which is unfortunate. I will probably just have to get that from a zombie because I do not feel like going on another adventure in order to find some carrots. So we'll just kill a zombie that's holding the carrot, and eventually we will get a carrot to plant. And those things do not reproduce greatly, so we may have to do it several times before it works. But someday we will have a full-grown carrot farm, and then we can find pigs, and bring pigs in and breed the pigs and all that yada yada. This is far in the future, from what I've seen thus far. But yeah, so now we're heading home. We grabbed all the books as well. This is something I was talking about in the previous video, I believe. That is because we're going to make an enchantment room relatively as soon as possible. And so we're probably actually going to do that in the upstairs room, which I had no use for prior to this. And we're going to fill that up with enchantment stuff and storage stuff, and maybe put a potion stand in there when I get there. I don't necessarily know how to do the potions, but I will certainly learn. That's what this whole season is about. Which, by the way, to let you guys know, season 1 is going to last forever. No, hopefully eventually I move on to season 2, where I consider myself less horrible at the game. But with how often updates come out and how terrible I am and how much I've got to learn, season 1 could be very, very long, guys. It could be very, very long. I'm not even necessarily sure at what point I could even reach what I imagine to be season 2 status. With the rate that we're going anyways, we're going to be at least 100 episodes in before I even consider season 2 with what's going on so far. You also may notice that the videos are a bit longer than what I said they would be. I said I was going to try and keep them to 20 minutes. However, I'm having some issues with my my iPod right now, and so my stopwatch is not working, which means I'm estimating how long this is going, and it turns out that twice in a row now I've estimated about 30 minutes as opposed to 20. Hopefully these videos don't take 7 hours to upload like the last 30-minute video did, because if they do, then I'm gonna know that it's more a conflict between my setup and YouTube as opposed to just YouTube's issue. And that's sad days, because that means shorter videos, and shorter videos means less progress, means less content for you guys, and that's not fun. But when it comes to 7-hour upload times, that's just not going to cut it. At some point, I hope to move on to being able to upload possibly 2 videos in one day. Not consistently, probably, maybe 2 days out of the week I would do that, but I want to do it at some point because that's more content and then I get more stuff done. But if it takes 7 hours to upload a video, that's not going to happen. I mean, my gosh, it's going to be rough even doing a video a day at that point. But hopefully it's not something that we need to worry about. I'm pretty sure that it was just YouTube messing up with the last video, because I followed a couple other YouTubers and they were having the same issue, and I know they have better internet than I do. So pretty sure it was just YouTube that day, in which case we're fine, and you'll still be getting your 20 or 30 minute videos. I will keep you guys updated on that as it goes on. But we're actually coming to the end of the video, which is why Minecraft has cued the sad music for you guys. But yeah, so we have 4 diamonds sitting in the chest now. That's going to become the enchanting table. We've got books to make it. Everything is going great. Probably either next episode or the episode after that, we will begin construction on the greenhouses, and we will build the enchantment table. Maybe do a small enchantment on a sword or something. I'll probably make an iron sword for that so it lasts longer. We're going to start breeding the sheep and moving them into individual pens to get different colored wool. It's definitely moving along, guys. We're doing very well. But you know, this is pretty much the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. For those of you who stayed, I understand the last couple of videos have been pretty boring, so don't feel bad about leaving at all. Please, you don't need to stay to watch the whole thing if you're not enjoying yourself. But hope you guys are having a great day, and we'll be talking to you next time in probably Skyrim for the next video. So once again, guys, hope you enjoyed, and we'll be seeing you next time.